Today I'm going to be sharing the dark truth about Jacob Zuma, including the VBS scandal. Jacob Zuma, born April 12, 1942, is a politician who served as president of South Africa from 2009 until he resigned under pressure in 2018. He also had served as the country's deputy president from 1997 to 2007 and president of the country's ruling party from 2007 to 2017, which is known as the African National Congress, also known as the ANC. Zuma received no formal schooling. He joined the ANC in 1959 and its military wing, Umkhonto weSizwe, in 1962. He was arrested in 1963 and sentenced to 10 years in prison on Robben Island for conspiring to overthrow South Africa's apartheid government. After his release, he set up underground networks to recruit for Umkhonto weSizwe. In 1975, Zuma fled the country to escape arrest. For more than a decade, he continued to work for the ANC while based in neighboring countries, first in Swaziland and then in Mozambique. He became a member of the ANC National Executive Committee in 1977. After the government of South Africa exerted pressure on that of Mozambique, Zuma was forced to leave the latter country in 1987. He then went to ANC headquarters in Lusaka, Zambia, where he served as head of underground structures and head of the intelligence department. When the South African government's ban on the ANC was lifted in 1990, Zuma returned to the country and was elected chairperson of the Southern Natal region. He became ANC Deputy General Secretary in 1991 and in 1994 he became a member of the Executive Committee for Economic Affairs and Tourism in the newly created province of KwaZulu-Natal. In December 1997, he was elected Deputy President of the ANC, and in June 1999, he was appointed Deputy President of the country by President Thabo Mbeki. Zuma had some legal challenges and conflict with Thabo Mbeki and was widely expected to eventually succeed Mbeki as president of the ANC and as president of the country. In June 2005, however, Mbeki dismissed him after the fraud and corruption conviction of one of Zuma's close colleagues, businessman Schabir Shaik, who had been accused of soliciting bribes from a French arms company on Zuma's behalf. The judge in that case found that there was a generally corrupt relationship between Shaik and Zuma, who was subsequently charged with 2 counts of corruption. Zuma initially recused himself from all ANC activities, but the ANC National General Council defied Mbeki by reinstating him as an active member, and eventually as an ANC Deputy President. In March 2006, with the corruption charges still pending, Zuma faced trial on a rape charge of which he was acquitted in May. In September, a Durban court struck the corruption case from the roll, stating that the state's case was not adequate enough. Despite the repeated allegations of wrongdoing, which his many supporters claimed were politically motivated, Zuma remained a popular figure within the ANC.
We are making the people and the municipal government.
Hey.
Remember,
thank you very much. Thank you very much. We want to apologize to the President for the disruption that just
the kids are screaming.
Why
are they crying?
The woman who accused President Jacob Zuma of rape in 2005 has died. Fezegile Kuzwayo, aged 41, commonly known as Kwezi, died in a Johannesburg hospital. The family has released a statement confirming her death. President Zuma was charged with rape in December 2005. He was acquitted by the High Court in Johannesburg 6 months later. Kwezi was diagnosed with
At the party's conference in December 2007, he was selected over Mbeki to be party president in what proved to be one of the most contentious leadership battles in the ANC's history. Later that month, Zuma was recharged with corruption and fraud and additional charges of money laundering, racketeering, and tax evasion. These charges were eventually dismissed on a legal technicality in September 2008. Prosecutors from National Prosecuting Agency, also known as NPA, vowed to appeal the ruling, angering many in the ANC. In addition, the presiding judge said there was evidence of political interference by Mbeki or his supporters in Zuma's prosecution, which ignited even more controversy within the party. Although Mbeki vehemently denied the allegations, a week later the ANC asked him to resign as president of South Africa, which he agreed to do. Although Zuma was widely expected to be chosen as the country's next president in the 2009 election, he was not eligible to serve as interim president, who under the terms of constitution had to be a member of the National Assembly. Zuma's ally Kgalema Motlanthe was the ANC's candidate for the position, and he was the overwhelming winner in a vote held by the National Assembly in late September 2008. In the weeks leading up to 2009 general election, the corruption charges against Zuma and the allegations of political interference were once again in the spotlight, culminating with an announcement by the NPA on April 6, 2009, that the charges would be withdrawn. Although prosecutors stated they felt corruption charges had merit, they noted evidence of misconduct in the handling of Zuma's case and cited taped phone conversations that had recently come to light between the former head of the NPA and the former head of the Scorpions. An investigative unit that was attached to the NPA before being disbanded in 2009, the taped conversation included discussions of the timing of the reinstatement of charges against Zuma, shortly after he was named president of the ANC in the late 2007. Opposition parties decried the withdrawal of the charges, claiming that the NPA bowed to pressure from the ANC to drop the charges before the election and that the question of Zuma's innocence was still unresolved. Nevertheless, the ANC performed strongly in the general election held on April 22, 2009, finishing far ahead of the other parties, and Zuma was poised to become the country's next president. He was officially elected to the presidency in a National Assembly vote held on May 6. Then he was inaugurated on May 9. Zuma adheres to many traditional Zulu customs, including polygamy. This has endeared him to some segments of the population, but has also been a source of criticism from others who find some customs to be at odds with what they consider to be modern societal norms. Other aspects of his personal life were also subject to criticism. In early February 2010, there were allegations that Zuma had fathered a child out of a wedlock, something frowned upon in a traditional Zulu culture. Zuma admitted that he had. As the controversy surrounding this incident continued to grow, critics claimed, among other things, that his behavior showed a blatant disregard for the country's HIV and AIDS policies. He apologized for the distress that his actions had brought to his family, the ANC, and the South African population. During his term as president, Zuma was involved in continental affairs, taking a role in mediation efforts to resolve crises in Africa on behalf of the Southern African Development Community or African Union, including those in Zimbabwe, Libya, and Cote d'Ivoire. At home, although there had been some progress made by the government's anti-poverty initiative, he had faced simmering discontent over the economic inequality still present in the country. He also continued to face allegations of corruption, which included the re-emergence of older charges. In March 2012, the Supreme Court of Appeal ordered a review by the Pretoria High Court of the 2009 decision by the state prosecutors to drop corruption charges against Zuma. In spite of those troubles, Zuma was overwhelmingly re-elected as president of the ANC at the party's conference held in December 2012. Zuma continued to be affected by the allegations of corrupt or unethical behavior in the following years. One such example was the controversy generated by the misuse of government resources that occurred when the Guptas, a wealthy business family with whom he had very close ties, were allowed to land a private plane at a high-security government airbase as they transported guests to a family wedding in 2013. Zuma denied having anything to do with that, and one government investigation cleared him of having been involved. But widespread criticism over the event remained. He also had to deal with the allegations of impropriety regarding the extensive state-funded upgrades for security reasons to his private homestead at Nkandla in KwaZulu-Natal. Now let me tell you about the VBS and its scandal with Zuma. Whoa, before we get right there, I just wanted to let you know that this video has taken longer than I expected it to, which led me to divide it into 2 episodes, or else y'all will be sleeping on me. Go ahead, subscribe to my channel, smash the notification bell, leave a like and a comment on what you thought of this video, and stay tuned for part 2 dropping as soon as possible.